So I'd like to use this video for this particular match as an example of some of the reasons behind the theories explained in the guide. The first one, of course, being whereabouts one drops in this location, and as you can see, as one gets dropped along the axis, you'll see that everybody more or less ends up within this kind of space zone. Now, if you created a cross-axis across this, you would get a good idea for what kind of direction you wanted to head after the actual zone begins. Now, for no particular reason, I decided to land here. It's a fair concentration of buildings for one person in solo, and was unlikely to be used by many others. As you can see, a lot of people have dropped in this kind of area here, and the same over here for the island. Now, obviously, when one lands, you go ahead looting as per usual. And as soon as the zone has been revealed to us, you can see that the area that we want to be in, having just had the plane go across this area here, would be over on this side here. Obviously, coming here, it's more likely to shrink towards this zone area, and moving this way would have less people in that area and therefore be safer, have better loot quantities, and should overall put you in a better position, whereas all these people should be coming down to follow the zone as it shrinks, which obviously puts us in the polarized position in the field of play. So, having done the original loot area to completion, the next job obviously is to steal a vehicle and head out to a new area. Now, the first area I decided upon would be this area here, just because it's the next area in the direction of the polarization of the field, but would unlikely have anyone there. And that just makes sense. Obviously, after this, the next idea would be to go here, then around. And hopefully, that should be possible given where the zone ends up forcing us to be, but obviously until the zone actually shrinks, it's impossible to know where that location will end up, so you kind of have to play it by ear. But as long as you're heading in the general direction, you can be sure that any decision you make to head in this direction is the right decision, at least on a tactical level. What you do within that is obviously relative to one thing or another. Having finished looted this area, obviously moving over here, as I came over to the area that the player quantum loop is in, immediately saw that the area had been looted and performed a terrible turn to get the fuck out of there. Because if the area has been looted and there is another player here, then the point of being here is what exactly? I mean, you can stay and get kills, sure, but we're playing for a game to win here, so it makes no point hanging around for no particular reason. So we move on to the next area on our list. As you can see, once this area has been looted and the zone has revealed itself to be in this general area, we can be fairly sure the zone's going to end up more or less around this kind of area. Now, there's something to be said about when you should or shouldn't take a vehicle anymore, when the zone is small enough that it is more detrimental to give away your position because of the noise of the vehicle than it is to travel quickly. Obviously, it depends on each individual situation. In this particular case, you'll see that Sir Charles here in fact was alerted to my presence by the fact that I was in a vehicle. There was a few planes that had come over this way dropping care packages, so I was simply driving along the coast to see if I could spot any out at sea that I might be able to nab that anyone else had unlikely been to. Now, I appreciate that this method of gameplay isn't necessarily the most fun or cool, if that's what you want to call it, because obviously could just go nuts and go kill some people, but as Germinator here is demonstrating very well that hiding like a bitch in the sea, there are worse ways you can play this game. Obviously, Sir Charles, here's my vehicle at this point, and becomes alerted to my presence, so we will watch and see how he handles that. Now, I never at any point said that I was a particularly good shot, or particularly good at the game, even. However, the strategy itself does make sense, and even if you only apply certain aspects of it, or even only partially adhere to it, you will inevitably end up in better positions than you were previously. And it doesn't matter how good you are, if you end up in someone else's scope, then you're fucked. If you end up fighting multiple opponents, one after the other, eventually you're going to get caught without ammo, without a reload, without health. One way or another, you're going to be in a bad situation. So learning how to limit those factors is very important. I hadn't seen this guy at all. I had no idea he was here. Fortunately, he screwed up and fired a shot that missed. And I bolted like a little bitch, because, you know, getting shot by a sniper is not ideal in any situation. Of course, this guy was quite keen to remove me from his area so that he could carry on looting. Didn't go too well for him, mind you. Let's move this on a little bit. So he's obviously trying to scope me down, figure out where I am. Obviously I'm aware of vaguely where he's going to be. End up seeing him at this point. Obviously he takes a few shots. Doesn't quite figure out where I am. Hops around like a bunny rabbit for some completely unknown reason, and then is dead. I think Germinator is still, yeah, hiding behind his boat. Good job, mate. Good job. Good job, that's great. Anyway. Once the zone has been revealed to shrink down yet again, we'll see that it becomes quite important to move pretty quickly. Obviously Germinator here is just going to drive his boat around into the zone and hide behind it here. That's one thing that you can do, hide behind your boat the whole game. But you end up with limited supplies, and I don't know, it's just... Some people might accuse this method of playing as boring, but that's got to be worse. Got to be worse. As I said in the guide, if you are new to the game, doing this is useful. Looting quickly is useful. Knowing where to go is useful. But when you come to actually fight other people on a one-on-one basis, or even multiple people, if you are unable to handle yourself in the situation, or your weapon, or whatever it might be, then it's useless. So to begin with, it makes much more sense to be dropping places like school, Pachinki, hospital, even military base, Novorupnoi, Lipovka, Ilta, that kind of place. Just gets you in a bit more combat and gets you more used to things. Well, they're in a bit of a shootout, aren't they? Okay. Anyway, as you can see, the distance and the time relevant aspect of this has caused me to take a vehicle to this area here. As far as the polarized zone goes, if the plane flew across this area here, you can have the vast majority of people up here, thus it makes sense to be on this side of the field. Good old polarization. I'm not really sure what Shabu was doing here. I guess he's probably gone through the military base and had to swim across. Made the choice not to shoot this guy here, give away my position for very little gain. This guy here obviously just saw that guy in the buggy drive past, and decided not to do anything about it either. I don't think he was aware of my presence here, so that is what that is. As you can see, the premise of the guide is pretty evident here. You've got a large number of people in the northern area of the field, and only people who have also polarized their field intentionally down this side here, other than Shabu, which is kind of the exception to the rule, where he's just gone where he's had to go and followed the zone accordingly. Obviously these two are going to have a bit of a duke out. I'm not really sure what this guy was doing here. I think he was parking his vehicle in a way that made it look like it was supposed to be there, but he wasn't paying very much attention, so I killed him. I don't really know what he was hoping would happen there. Obviously the desync in this is a bit annoying. Just watch that. Obviously you got Germinator over there, and that guy in the buggy fucking around. As soon as Leonard got in his car, it's a pretty dead giveaway that there's someone over here. So it was quite an easy kill at that point. Ooh, some delayed sound, isn't it? Okay. Now the zone has revealed itself to be even smaller, so it's pretty evident that the zone is likely to end up in either some kind of wooded sniper battle or in a CQB situation, and as I have a Vector and a Kar 98 with an 8 times, I'm feeling pretty happy about that, and at this point decide to go check on the guy that I killed. Didn't go earlier because there was no point making yourself a vulnerable target. This guy with the buggy decided to hide here for a length of time. And you can see here is when the being in the right position really is important, because all of the people coming down from here, and there's more in here as well, that will have to come into the zone through the northern entrance. They'll all have to fight each other for space. The likelihood of them surviving that is obviously far less than our likelihood down here of surviving a southern approach. As you can see, as time goes on and people have to move closer into this zone, more and more players are revealing themselves as having to go through a northern approach. You can see the inevitable confrontations that are going to happen within this circle, going to happen pretty viciously and pretty quickly. And if we had chosen to stay up here and would be approaching this way, then we would be amongst them in an attempt to vie for space and not die horribly. Now, obviously that doesn't bode well for trying to get a chicken dinner. So this kind of bunching here is a prime example of what we're trying to avoid. None of these 4 players have really considered their position as they were aware of the zone. And there's only one real result of having this many people in a small area. Everyone hides in buildings like dickheads. One badass just starts taking people on. But inevitably these people are gonna knock themselves out of the fight, one way or another. Great fun, absolutely, no doubt. This game is a lot of fun, and that's why we all play it. But being in this position here is not conducive to winning a match, and if winning a match is what you want to do, then being in these kinds of positions is what you got to be. Shabu here is a freaking beast. It's just taking people down left, right, and center. Now, of these 3, well, 4, I guess he's bolted. These 3 players, only one's going to get out of there alive, because in order to get to the zone, it's only going to go one way. Obviously now we're getting closer into the middle of the zone. Germinator is hiding down there, which is fair enough. Man-X has managed to defeat his rivals from this area here. Shabu has done a great job of removing various opponents from this area here. I've been aware of this guy's presence since he came in on the boat, so I'm just keeping distance. Don't actually want to engage yet because I don't want to give my position away, being unaware of where everyone else was at this point. And until he proved to be a threat, there wasn't much point in removing him. Although, in a minute there will be a situation where opportunity presents itself and I take a shot and fail to kill him, but it was a sensible choice at the time. So we can see now with the zone having shrunk to its very final areas that the 4 final players are present. Man-X, who survived the northwestern approach. Shabu came in from the southeast and annihilated everyone coming from north-northeast. And Germinator, who hid behind a boat like a bitch. Obviously at this point we're entering the circle from east-west, north-south, respectively, so it's not too big a deal. So at this point obviously the whole point of polarizing the field kind of becomes null and void, because there's so few people left in a relatively small area that you either occupy your area and survive or you don't. And I think really at this point the only thing left to learn is a few things about what to do and when to do it. Now there comes a moment here where Germinator is a prime opportunity to kill me as I leave this building and move for a zone further on. As with all combat sports or anything combat related, it's not so much the speed at which you do something or the stealth in which you do something, but in fact the ability for you to change from one to the other, to go from fast to slow and from slow to fast. And whilst I've been very slowly moving across the map this entire time, the point at which this zone moves to a smaller area around here was a time, despite everybody trying to be quiet and move slowly within a small area, to move quickly and avoid being killed, and I will demonstrate that. So rather than move early into the zone through fear, waited for a good moment, and then decided to move around this building at this point here. Now, as I cross the corner, I no longer become available for Germinator to kill. If I walked slowly at that point, I would have ended up like Germinator in this position. Not in a good position at all. Now, I will admit that the next few minutes are kind of lame, hiding, but the reality was I knew there was someone in here, I knew there was someone over here, and I'm sure as hell the Germinator was behind me. Obviously, at this point he died, but this guy has clearly managed to dispatch quite a few people, and my aim at this point is to avoid confrontation until these two have had their impact on one another. And you can see quite clearly as Shabu gets left out in the open and the zone forces ends up in a confrontation with Man X. I actually moved from within the zone to outside the zone in order to better safeguard myself from Shabu being able to spot my position. And then wait. I know it's kind of lame, but what's the alternative? You want to run out there and take on both of them at the same time? You wouldn't be able to engage Shabu without Man X being able to get an angle on you from the building, and you wouldn't be able to go and get an angle on Man X without Shabu moving in to take advantage of the situation. So the only correct thing to do at this point is to wait. Shabu has no choice, he has to fight, and Man X has a serious advantage with his position. So he's going to take on anyone he can see because he's got cover and safety. As you'll see, both of these players are pretty good aim, pretty good positioning, and so trying to take both of them on at the same time would just be pure stupidity. The zone starts to shrink, forcing our little buddy in, and very swiftly destroys Man X. Shabu decides to go around this way, and I've taken where the two have engaged one another and taken advantage of them going at one another to kill the final survivor. Now if I'd have waited, there's a good chance he would have gotten into a position to take me out or healed or whatever it might be, but when he attacked was the opportunity for me to attack and then win the game. Thank you.